Okay, so Flash came out, ended the DC Extended Universe, the timeline between Man of Steel, fucking love Man of Steel, and the Flash is done. It's end. We got Blue Beetle, Aquaman that are left from the old regime. You also might include Joker 2 in there as well, but it all starts of a brand new DC universe under the brand new DC Studios, co-led by James Gunn and Peter Safran, and they set up in January the entire like the first couple of years, Chris Amanda's, Waller, Batman Wearing the Bow, Lanterns, Paradise Lost, Swamp Thing, the Authority. But what really is going to set this new universe, what's actually going to be the driving force, the thing that's going to be episode 1 of chapter 1 of the DC universe, as I like now call it, and now I will officially call now on the DC universe films, or the new DC universe series. Now I can officially say that now, but but it's going to start with a Superman movie called Superman Legacy that's coming out in July 12th or 2025. And we've been hearing rumblings of who's going to be, who's been testing, who isn't, who's up for being Superman, who's up for being Lois. Still rumblings of who's going to be Lex, which I will talk about my thoughts on the Lex casting as well on top of this. But the wait is over. We know who's going to be Lois and Clark. We know who's going to be Kal-El and Lois Lane, or Clark and Lois Lane, or Superman and Lois Lane, the last night of Krypton, all that kind of stuff. And now we know. I'm reading this from the Hollywood Reporter article. There's several versions of this. You can read it from Deadline. You can read it from a YT or gas station online. You can find it anywhere. Which basically say these two are the ones who are getting the role. We are going to see them as these characters in a couple of years' time, and talk about the lengthy process. I mean, when last month? When that article came up of who's up for the role of Superman and who's up for the role for Lois, David Corenswet was the only name I went, and I naturally didn't know half these, didn't know who these people were, so I had to Google them, in case I'd seen them and stuff, or just the look of them really screams the character for me. And out of all the actors, Corenswet I haven't seen much of at all. I think I've seen Hollywood. But I was I barely remember his performance in Hollywood, right? Because I barely remember watching the show in general. I remember watching the show, but not the show. Remember the show in general. So, but by the look of him, and everyone was talking about he could be perfect for Superman. I mean, first he has to look. I was by the look, he screamed Superman out of all the others. He has the jawline. He, and even from the way he talks, because everybody was pointing to a couple of interviews he did for, I think, The Politician, which is a Netflix show, and I'm he just, the way he talks, his voice, all that, he just, kind of gives those Superman qualities, and I was the only one I went, really? Was Nicholas Hoult. Everyone was Nicholas Hoult, he can be good Superman, and I'll be you know what? Nicholas Hoult is one of those actors I find is you just can't see him playing any role, big budget role, until you see him in that role. You know what I mean? If they were going to make X-Men First Class now, and they announced Nicholas Hoult was going to play Beast, could you see him in Beast? Probably not. And that's what I think. Even for I'll talk about the Lex Luthor thing, a little bit later in this video, but. Anyway, all that. So but out of all those listings was for Clark, for Superman, for Kal-El, Last Night of Krypton, Man of Steel, Man of Tomorrow, whatever. Let's add all these other words. I was he feels like the most Superman-y I could. I haven't seen much of it. I only seen little as well, but I don't remember his performance in it, so I was okay, but he just out of all the actors, I'm Superman. Brosnahan, was like the one. It was so weird because she was known as the older choice, and we're like, she's like only like 3 years older than Corenswet. Correct. Like he's only like she's 32. I think he's 29. I was like, how the fuck is that older? What world do we live on? But anyway, but she was known as the older choice, right? But the thing is, like, me who hasn't seen her Amazon show, and the only name I saw, and the one I was like, boom, Lois, was Anna McKinney. Just because, like, for Sex Education and Death and Denial, it's just like, the moment I heard her name, I was like, yeah, that's Lois. She's immediately Lois. Lois Lane, absolutely full stop. But, you know, and definitely when you start seeing photos, you know, people were using photos from, like, Death and Denial, and you're just like, boom, I was like, that's Lois Lane. But James Gunn picked Ways of Brosnahan, and the thing is, it's James Gunn, so I trust him. Yeah, me as always member, I trust him with the casting, I trust him with the storytelling, I trust him. Like, you know, he didn't miss a beat with Guardians 1, 2, 3 of the holiday special. He didn't miss a beat with the casting of Suicide Squad, even though there was like 3-4 characters who already were cast in the previous film. Peacemaker, the casting was really spot on, even though I wasn't a fan of Peacemaker. The thing is, I just trust James Gunn, and I think the majority of us, that's the whole thing. And it feels like we're heading to the right direction, because I always feel that for the first movie, like, naturally you want characters to grow and evolve and change, and feel like the character that we saw in the movie 1 is very different from movie 5, right? So there's a level of regression and fluidity and growth out through. But I feel like the first movie, you kind of want to capture the more iconic essence. Like, bring the quote-unquote comic book version to the screen, and then sequels come along, and that's how you have growth. Yeah, and you start from there for character development and route you want to go to. And to be fair, like, the only Lois and Clark pairing that everyone universally loves is Crystal Reeve and Mara Kidder. So you need, and to make a Superman movie work, you kind of need to nail the relationship between Lois and Clark, because that's going to be your fourth one. That's going to be the anchor. Like, you think about it with Superman, yes, you got the sci-fi aspect of things. You know, occasionally you get a Brainiac, occasionally you get a Zod, occasionally you get a Doomsday, occasionally you get a Darkseid, occasionally you get this Lex Luthor rocking amok, a Lobo, what have you, or, you know, might guess the Authority for this upcoming film. End of the day, if you think about Superman, the story of Superman is a romance story. It's basically a sci-fi romance story of a guy from Kansas falling in love with the city girl. That's basically what the story of Superman is. And you just see that, like, kind of grow out if you think about it. And that's what you kind of want to capture. Now, so, the casting, let me know what you think below. What I said I would touch on to this is the Lex Luthor stuff, where they have found Lois and Clark, but they haven't yet locked down Lex. And the rumors are Nicholas Hoult, who was also in the wedding of Superman, he's up for Lex Luthor, which I didn't see. But also the Skarsgård brothers, Bill Skarsgård, who, you know, Pennywise. And he was also in the recent John Wick and also Alexander Skarsgård. And a lot of people will say Bill Skarsgård, because, you know, he he's the, you know, he's played bad guys basically. You know, he's Pennywise, the dancing clown, and, you know, he's John Wick, you know, the head of the assassin clan from John Wick. We get you. You know, you want to jump to the guy who has known for playing bad guys. But I don't know, the one that really swings Lex to me out of the three is Alexander Skarsgård. It's true. It's Tarzan. It's True Blood. It's the Northman. You know, he's the one that screams, Lex to me, because Lex, knowing the concept of the story is, okay, this is the Superman who's been Superman for a couple of years now. For me, with Lex, you need, at least for the first film, or the first time we see him, we need to have the public persona, the welcoming, like, hey, the idea is a king who still thinks he's king. And that's what you want Lex to be. And him slowly figuring out, like, I got the throne. You know, Metropolis used to be his kingdom. Now it's the throne to the younger prince, aka Superman. Because for me, also, like, knowing that, like, they're not going to go this route. You know, maybe they do. But I always feel that Lex Luthor, you need to have us believe, because this happened in the comics, that a Lex Luthor could literally be president. That the public would believe and would trust Lex Luthor to be wanting to run their country. So, because that happened in the comics. Now, and that's what it is. For me, it's like, I need to believe that could be a possibility, that reality to make good Lex. And I just feel like Alexander Skarsgård is a better choice to fill that role. And also, like, you know, you think about who's happy to be bold for 10 years. You know, it'd be a lot of bold caps, let's be honest. Probably, like, be bold for the first movie and then, like, you know, bold caps for the rest of it. Like Karen Gillan, you know, in Guardians of the Galaxy, she shaved her head for the first film. And then Guardians 2 onwards are like, oh yeah, we'll just put the whole thing in makeup. We'll just tie your hair back and put, like, a bowl cap on you, so it'll be fine. But yeah, Lex, that's for me. Alexander feels more Lex to me, and also I feel like Lex needs to be slightly older than Superman, to feel that sense of the older king, to Metropolis and that. So yeah, comment below what you think of the possible Lex Luthor choices along with the Superman casting. Comment below.